Hi, my name is Stephanie and welcome to the Reader Chronicles. Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you all the books that I read during the month of May. I read a lot of books during the month thanks to all the amazing readathons that took place. And then after that, I'm going to be showing you the plans that I have for June. So the first book I read in the month of May was An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I am so happy to be picking up this book again. This was one of the best fantasy books that I have read in a long time. It sucked while I was reading it because I knew it was going to be a standalone, but after reading the end, I wasn't surprised finding out that we were going to get a sequel because this book is just so amazing. Anyone who has not read this book and is afraid of the hype that's been given to it, don't be afraid. You will not be disappointed at all. After reading An Ember in the Ashes, it was time to start the Bout Book Search 2.0 and the Crush Your TBR Readathons, and then right after that it was the Rip Set Readathons. I've already given my wrap-ups for those books and I'm going to link them down below. These are the books that I read during the Bout Book Search 2.0 and the Crush Your TBR Readathons. There were two separate readathons, but they happened in the same week. So I read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, halfway through A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, The Wicked and the Divine by Gillian McKelvey Wilson and Cowles, Saga Volume 1, Saga Volume 2, and Saga Volume 3 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. And then after that, it was the Rip Set Readathon, and during that week I read Flirt, Right Here, Right Now, Flirt, Close Up and Personal, Flirt, High Fashion, and Flirt, Spin City, all by Nicole Clark. Lastly, Burning by Elena K. Arnold. And then after the Rip Set Readathon, I read A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. After reading this, I understand now why everyone is so obsessed with Sarah J. Maas. She is such an amazing writer. I read this all the way through without stopping. I even dreamt about it afterwards. That's how amazing the world was and how ingrained it was into my mind. And now I'm extremely looking forward to starting her Throne of Glass series next. And today is the last day of May, but I have not rested. So far, I have been reading Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I'm about 100 pages through. I'm actually surprised by how much I am enjoying this book. I have never read a classic before for pleasure, but I'm really happy that I picked it up. I really want to broaden my horizons, and I'm really looking forward to finishing this so that way I can move on to Pride and Prejudice I have on my bookshelf. And then after that, there's a whole new world of classics that I have to dive myself into. Okay, so those are all the books that I read in the month of May. I am extremely proud of myself for reading so many books in such a little time, and I'm hoping that I can continue on strong in the month of June. And speaking of June, it's time to talk about my plans. So the very first week of June, we have the TBR Takedown. Yes, I'm participating in yet another readathon. I am beginning to love these readathons. It gives me such joy and motivation to read more than I ever have before. It starts tomorrow, June 1st, and it ends Sunday, June 7th. It was created by Shannon, and her channel is Leaning Lights. I will put her video down below in the description box explaining the TBR Takedown rules and challenges and all that good stuff. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are challenges in this readathon. There are 5 of them. The first one is read a book that's been on your TBR shelf for over a year. And for that, I'm going to be reading Remember Me by Christopher Pike. There is actually 3 books in this, and I've already read Remember Me. In this, there is Remember Me, The Return, and The Last Story, so I'm going to be reading The Return. Remember Me was pretty long, and The Return is not as long in comparison, so hopefully I can get through this pretty fast. I'm like trying to split it apart so you guys can see. But yeah, hopefully I can read this pretty fast and that way I can move on to the other challenges because I do have a couple books on here that I really want to read. So the second challenge is read an unread sequel that is sitting on your TBR shelf. For this, I'm going to be reading Saga Volume 4 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is technically a sequel. I mean, it's a sequel to book 3, and I think she mentioned that as long as it's like part of a series that you're reading, then you're fine. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this. This is kind of going to be giving me more excitement for the readathon after I read The Return by Christopher Pike, because I don't know how I'm going to be feeling about reading that. I did love Remember Me. I thought that was actually a really gripping story and I really enjoyed it. I just remember reading the first couple chapters of The Return and it was kind of completely different and I wasn't really ready for it and I didn't really want to read it after that. But I am determined to get this off my TBR shelf. I mean, after that I still have The Last Story, but yeah, we'll save that for another day. Back to Saga Volume 4. I'm actually really excited to read this. I found this at Barnes & Noble last night, and this will definitely get me more pumped up to read for the rest of the readathon. The third challenge is read the first book in a series that's on your TBR shelf, and for that I'm going to be reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is probably going to be one of my highlights while reading. I really loved A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I know that I'm going to love this series too. Sarah J. Maas is an amazing writer, and I know she's not going to let me down. And the fourth challenge of the readathon is read an out of your comfort zone book that is on your TBR shelf, and for that I'm going to be reading Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I have already started reading this. It's definitely out of my comfort zone because it is my first classical book that I'm reading for pleasure. It was kind of hard to get into the first couple pages because I wasn't used to not reading modern day English, but now that I'm over it and I'm able to understand what they're saying, I'm really enjoying this story. I'm taking my time with it too, so that way I can get more involved with the characters. And I really love Marianne and John Willoughby right now. I really hope they stay together in this book because they make such a cute little couple. And yeah, I feel like this is going to be a really nice read for me, and even though it's out of my comfort zone, I feel like I'm going to be able to enjoy it. And the fifth and last challenge is read a book from your most recent book haul. For that, I'm going to be reading Magonia by Maria Devana Headley, and I am truly looking forward to reading this. It's pretty short also, which is a good thing for readathons. I'm really fond of the premise of this. I really feel like I will enjoy this. I have not been too disappointed in the books I've been reading lately, except for the books that I read for the Ripsat Readathon, which you can see in my wrap book video. Hopefully I enjoy this. Hopefully I enjoy all the other books I picked out for the TBR Takedown Readathon. I'll definitely be posting a wrap up video afterwards. And now on to my other plans. Hopefully I'm going to be able to join this book club that one of my favorite booktubers has created. Her channel name is Naya Reads and Smiles. She has created this book club called IgnitedReads with her best friend Mickey Between the Pages, and the first book of the month read-along extravaganza is going to be the Lux series. Yes, the entire Lux series for the month of June. For this book club read-along, I have purchased the first two books in the Lux series. I have ordered Obsidian and Onyx. I am waiting to get them from Barnes & Noble, and hopefully I can pick them up by the end of the first week of June. Again, this is the Lux series, and it's by Jennifer L. Armentrout. In case you guys are interested, I will also put her video describing the details down below. Okay, so if I finish all of those books and I still have time left over in the month of June, I plan on finishing A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. If not finishing, then maybe at least getting 100 or 200 pages in. It's a super chunky book. I don't mind that it's taking me a long time to read this because it is such an amazing read, and besides, there are literally thousands of more pages to be read after I'm done with this book. For the month of June, I also plan on reading The Martian by Andy Weir. This is not my book, this is actually my husband's best friend's book, so I have to read this as soon as possible and get this to him, and hopefully he'll let me borrow other books that he has on his bookshelf. And the last and final book that I plan on reading for the month of June is Red Queen by Victoria A. Bayard. I am pretty pumped up about reading this book. I have seen mixed reviews about this, however, but it's okay. I'm going to go in with it with my expectations low. I have been wanting to read a dystopian for a while, and this seems somewhat dystopian. I mean, the caste system between the Red Bloods and the Silver Bloods definitely isn't a utopia. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about reading this, and I'll definitely let you guys know how I feel about this once I'm done finishing it. Okay, so those are all the books that I plan on reading for the month of June. If you guys have not yet noticed, I have an infinite love for books. I am reading constantly, all the time. So if I do manage to read more after that, I will let you guys know. I also will be doing some tag videos, some book reviews. I have yet to do a book review. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty hesitant and weary to do them. But because I have such a great passion for these books and the books that I read, I feel like it won't be too difficult to do it. But yeah, this is crazy because this is my last month that I have worry-free, because in July I have to start preparing for my move in August. And in August, I am moving to Germany. I'm going to be living in Germany for 3 years, and that is actually so insane. I still don't know what to think of it. I definitely know I'm excited, and I'm excited to bring you guys along for the ride. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I promise I'll get a video to you guys super soon, and until then, I'll see you guys later.